All right, welcome everybody to the 21st episode of the Advisor Tech Book Live podcast. Today's guest is France with Bill Good Marketing and their new CRM Altitude. Hopefully that's a good summary.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's kind of complicated when you try to get into the nuances of what's doing what and how it works. But yeah, I'm the CEO of Build Good Marketing. I'm also the founder of Altitude, which is our AI native practice management platform, and Pathfinder, which is our AI assistant.
Cool. So we were just chatting about where the space is going. So I want to start there. I published that like Lord of the Rings style advisor tech map. Where does what you're building fit on the map?
Um, yeah, it's interesting what we were talking about because I was I've been talking to a lot of people over the last couple of weeks and showing them our platform. And I think that people are really starting to have the realization that that change is coming, but it's coming in a way that is way more integrated than it had been. And when you look at that map, there's so many different applications that are out there. And I think that people have always been taught to build for niches. And you build a specific product for a specific niche that addresses a specific need, and then you integrate with all the people around it that house the data or that provide insights or paths, and you're building this entire ecosystem. And I think in wealth tech, like we've seen that explode since 2020, because 2020 people, before COVID, like you didn't need to have Calendly or Zoom or anything else like that. It was
Yeah.
weird. It was weird to do meetings virtually.
Yeah.
And as a consulting company, we had to also pivot with our clients. And it was interesting. I was having conversations with people, and I think it was 2021, 2022, we had clients that were doing all their meetings over Zoom, and the advisor liked it, the clients liked it. So I think that sort of societal change drove a lot more innovation, and now we're in a situation where there's so many different applications that you literally have to have someone like yourself, Joe, putting together the integrations for an RAA so that they actually have a tech stack. And I think a lot of people are probably, I thought my idea was unique in building an operating system for advisors, but I guess I'm not. I think a lot of people are having the same idea at the same time. And I think that the approach will probably change. But I think that what we'll see is we'll have these like platforms that exist, and I'll speak to Altitude. Um, we'll have a platform that exists that provides all of the technology for the advisor to do business, to communicate, to market, to improve efficiency, to provide good advice, to manage their meetings, to get really good data into the CRM, because without getting data into the CRM properly and accurately, the CRM is useless.
Yeah.
And then we'll have on the other side, planning and asset allocation and all the stuff that people have traditionally done. And then most likely you'll have a combination of the two. For example, like Altruist is probably heading in that direction. They've been really, really good at what they do. Lots of people I talk to are very happy with what they get out of it. So is that kind of what you're seeing too?
Yeah, no, so I only talked about the first half of the map, which was like the note takers and the AI prospecting tools. But then
Okay.
then I identified like who is the Shire, who is Rivendell, and then what's Minas Tirith. So I think the relationship operating system or the CRM, what has been known as the CRM, is going to be like Minas Tirith, like
Yeah.
the final big battle for middle tech. Um, because I
And that's
think that's where what the custodian does is obviously very important. What the phone, texting, communication, email, calendar, that's all very important. But like what brings it all together is I feel like still the CRM.
yeah. Um the data is absolutely important. And the quality of the data is important, how it's used and how it's surfaced and when it's used and surfaced. Um, so Bill Good Marketing built one of the first marketing automation platforms in the industry back in early 2000s. And that was because as Bill Good had been discovering over his point of talking to a lot of people, consulting them, helping them grow their business, was that they needed something that enforced the systems that they're supposed to actually do to create that efficiency and to create that growth in a systematic way. And he really developed a plug and play system for doing that. And at that point, the CRM was like we had to literally teach people the best practices on what data goes in, where it goes, and like it forced them to adhere them to do that by actually inventing a role in the office of what we called at the time the computer operator. And what we did is that we would give them these sheets called roughs, which are record update forms. They'd write all their notes, they'd do everything on there, it'd go to the computer operator, and then that person would take all the data and put it in. Like that was
We've
the
come a
only way.
long way. Now
Yeah,
everybody's a computer operator.
I know. And I
Barely.
think,
Some of us don't know how to use a computer, but we try.
well, I mean, you do have the two finger typers still, but I think that the day and age that we're in right now, like that's gone too. Um, and I think that's one of the cool things about not only just AI note takers, but having like that computer operator type person that's trained on the best practices that then takes that data and puts it in, which is what Pathfinder does. Um,
I think yeah, so like with this the Salesforces, Red Tails, and Wealth Boxes, they were like the best CRMs of the time, but you had to come to them with a point of view. You had to come to them with a segmentation strategy or with a workflow strategy. So like that's why there are all these consultants around these three platforms, is because if you just fire up one of these out of the box, they don't work in a systematic way. You have to kind of force your system upon them. But I feel like the next breed of CRMs, we'll see if you agree with this. Like almost the operating system or the way to run the business is already built in to, so it's like out of the box ready to go and make some money. You don't
yeah,
have to like create an entire system on top of the platform first.
no, you can take and you can modify it. And already having those best practices in there that are updated, like absolutely. There's no reason why a person can't buy a platform now and put their data in there and then interact with it in a meaningful way, even conversationally, um, or work with somebody that's still at the company that is knowledgeable, and get a little bit of guidance. But like the idea of being like, okay, fine, you can go and buy a Salesforce license and you can pay 150 or $200 a month, or a HubSpot license and pay more than that, but then you have to figure it all out. So then you have
Right.
to go and hire a consultant to then do that,
Yep.
which I think consultants are incredibly valuable. But I think also the time is now for that, not requiring that human intervention to be able to build something out.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like the complicatedness and all the options has made advisors so incredibly busy doing work that doesn't make them more. It doesn't help their clients, and it doesn't make them any money. So advisors are just spending 80% of their time confused and distracted instead of. I think with the next generation of tech, like half the day I see spending on current clients, and half the day I spend or see them spending on future clients.
Mhm.
So that they can, and there'll be so many fewer tools that they have to integrate and jump between. I think the offer is going to get a whole lot clearer, like actually how do financial advisors help their clients.
Yeah,
um, but let's start. Well, actually, you mentioned that Bill Good, the first thing they built was a marketing automation platform.
yeah.
um, so I've been spending a lot of time recently picking on the AI prospecting tools. How does what they built originally compared to the HubSpots, and then maybe more now with like the automated, cold outbound that we're seeing a lot of?
Yeah, so I think that right now we're not focused on just cold outbound, cold outreach stuff. Um, and we'll get to that. And I think it's primarily because traditionally we've worked with advisors that have gone through the trial by fire. They've grown to a certain point where they're kind of self-sustaining. So what we help them with primarily is client marketing, referral generation, referral consciousness.
Nice.
And as they move through that professional journey into COIs, we help them really, really um, do a good job in terms of like seminar management and client engagement stuff. So I think that when it comes to the platforms and the platform that we've always had, it was always to primarily get them to be able to leverage the relationships they already have. Now, we had outbound stuff. We taught a lot of cold calling for a while, account-based marketing type stuff. We've had advisors that did really well, for example, prospecting executives at publicly traded companies, stuff like that. So those things exist. But and we'd have like list management and stuff like that and teach them how to build lists. But outside of that, um, we haven't dove too much into it, and I haven't put too much attention on the that side of the business recently.
Yeah, so like if you look at the Kids' marketing study, the second most effective marketing is cold outbound, but it's personalized cold outbound. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
human physically picking up a phone and calling another human and starting a conversation. It's
Yeah.
not like we send 1,000 emails out to 1,000 prospects that we wrote with using AI. So cold outbound definitely has a place, and I think maybe I haven't had made that clear in some of my writing. I do think there's a place for it. Very few advisors do it though. Like Kids was like less than 5% of advisors are doing cold outbound.
Mm.
So, but that's cool. So do you want to share some of the history of the Altitude and why you're building it, how you're building it, and then we can get into a demo?
Yeah, sure. So we have always had a history of software innovation. I think that we did really well for a long time. We kind of, as a company on the Bill Good marketing side, reached the height of popularity and engagement and working with people. The company was like 150 people strong, like in
Wow.
2006, 2007.
Okay.
We had like 35 consultants or something like that. Full software development team. Even in 2008, like 2007, we still had a lot of people. And when the market crashed, a lot of the relationships that Bill Good Marketing had were with a lot of firms that disappeared overnight. Um, so, I think Bill and the team did as best as they possibly could at that point in time, but things changed, and I think that the decision wasn't necessarily to continue to innovate on the software. Um, Even though when I came and started working here very early on, all the people I talked to, ex clients, current clients, stuff like that, were always like, yeah, like, oh, I love Gorilla, or yeah, Gorilla was amazing, or when are you guys going to put your platform in the cloud? Or they never talked about anything else other than the software. And so then when I came and I moved out here from Los Angeles, and like my wife and kids and stuff, we moved out here to take the business over. That was one of the focuses, was like, okay, our tech's out of date. And then I slowly found out that like some people, there were new people coming into the industry. They had no idea who we were. So we basically got the company running much better, and it was moving in a good direction. And then we established a relationship with another third-party vendor, and we tried to get our systems and stuff like, and processes and stuff like that implemented in that platform. It didn't work out. We even had ideas of maybe like partnering up with a CRM company and delivering our coaching, giving our content, like doing the normal thing, but relying on someone else to actually build the technology. And it never really came to fruition. So we tried to implement it with the company we were working with, and it just didn't work out. Like, it just, the pace at which we wanted to innovate, the things we wanted to do, it never really quite jived. And we actually built a really early AI. We were using, like, I think it was ChatGPT 3.0 or 3.5 to build a conversational interface into Gorilla 5, which was the predecessor to Altitude. And it was just the tech on the other end, like, couldn't, it just wasn't set up to do it correctly. So
Sure.
I knew at that point, like, we played with an early version of chat where it was like you could simulate text messaging a friend. And man, at that time when that came out, I think that was 2023, 22, before chat GPT became a thing. I knew at that point, I was like, yes, like, the tech is going to be here to
Yeah.
solve this problem of complexity. Like, so then in November 2024, we were like, you know what, let's just start building. Let's see if we can actually build a platform. The tools that are available now to build software make it a lot easier. You don't have to spend a ton of time ideating on like the user interface and all this other stuff. It's much faster. So we started working on it, and we are like, okay, yeah, we can do this with a very small team, bootstrapping it ourselves. And then as it grew, we then basically started hiring more developers and built the team up to, it's like 6 or 7 developers, which isn't a ton, but we got a lot done. And then we launched it to our current clients that were on the prior software in early August of
Okay.
2025.
Nice.
So, and we learned a lot through that. And we had some growing pains as far as that's concerned. But I think that thank God that Bill had built such a great reputation with his client base that they were willing to allow us to make mistakes to move through that process. And now we're just like we're doing really well. Our clients like we build stuff really fast. Like the speed at which we can create things is at a very high velocity, and it's like meaningful stuff. It's
Yeah.
great to be able to have somebody that's like, hey, it'd be great if you could do this. And then you're like, yeah, cool, I can do that. And then a week later you did it. And they're like, wow, you did it. Like, because they're so used to, their suggestions going to software companies going into some deep, dark black hole and never
Yeah.
hearing back.
Right.
So, and that
No,
makes it a lot
it's been months or years even, and sometimes like, in these like CRM communities, there's features that have been talked about for years and they haven't been done yet, and
and,
everybody gets really
and I don't
frustrated.
understand that. Like, I
Yeah.
don't, why? So, yeah,
I think this
go ahead.
industry is so focused on integrations, and one of the big things with integrations is user overlap. So, like, if you use one software and your users start asking for, an integration with another software, you wait until there's like 50 firms asking for it or 100
Yeah.
firms asking for it. But the problem with that is then you're always behind, like really behind. So what I'm trying to do with my work is like build the integrations before the user overlap even exists.
Mm.
So like if these two companies should integrate, like try to encourage them to get it built before people are even asking for it. And then we can, you know, get better tech into advisors' hands a lot quicker.
Yeah, I really liked what you posted the other day about like kind of like your not wasn't like your mission statement, but like
Yeah.
how
Master
Elon Musk
plan.
has his master plan. Yeah,
Yeah.
which I thought was really cool, and what a great way to fit in and contribute to the overall like progress of the industry.
Yeah.
It was great, right? And you're right. Like I think finding good companies and getting them to work together towards a common goal is incredibly important because like we're working on designing, for example, like in designing out the SMS portion of our platform. Do I want to invest that many resources into it? I mean, maybe, but if there's something better that already exists, then maybe that's the conversation we should be having instead of trying to carve out like our own little SMS thing. And I think that that also then shows where integrations are going because I think that at some point, and we're going to, I think that integrations are going to be easier, whether it's still on a like still using REST or is it because we've created some new encryption levels so that agents can communicate and transfer data and authenticate and making it even easier for that stuff just being a handoff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because why not like work towards a world where you don't have to build an API integration?
Yeah.
So
Are you guys in have you guys identified a very specific category of the map that you want to be in or a few categories?
yeah,
What's your goal?
yeah. So I get really bothered by bad marketing content. Like it, I'm not going to name any names, but we've also have kept tabs on people that there's two ways that this could work, right? We've been around for a very, very, very long time, and we've identified some actual truths. Like if you do this, then this happens. So it's like a formula, and we have like our best practices. And sometimes people find that same formula. Sometimes they steal it. So I think that we in our lapse of staying ahead of technology, I think that there's tremendous opportunity in us being able to help advisors retain their clients and generate new relationships through our content.
Okay.
Um, so that's one area, and making it very very easy because a lot of a lot of the data that I've gotten over the years in terms of like, yeah, well, we're not using your content anymore, and well, why? Well, because it's it's too hard, or we have to go find one, or we have to figure out what to send, and then we have to, you know, put it into an envelope. And direct mail is still incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
Um, emails are fine, but direct mail is incredibly valuable. So that's one area that we want to own. I literally just want to pick all the different little things that are beneficial, so that we can create the ecosystem where all of the primary things the advisor needs are solved. So meeting assistance, Pathfinder, which is built into Altitude, but we're working on Pathfinder Plus, which attends in-person meetings, attends virtual meetings. It could be like, oh, you're a little behind on that. But I think the way we're doing it is absolutely just going to crush a lot of the ways that the traditional one size fits all type thing is being done, as well as Elevate, which is our marketing automation platform that gives advisors and their team members multiple ways to actually manage their marketing content and do their marketing. And then I think that there's no reason why a person should have to go and spend 150, 200, 300, $400 on a website. There are tools out there that are good enough so that, if they just want to spend a little bit of time, get a little bit of help on building a website, it can be done for them, and
Okay.
make that super easy. And then I think the intersection in like meeting assistant, we're launching that, or not meeting assistant, but like booking, like Calendly, stuff like that. We're
Yeah.
doing that. Yeah. So all of the little tiny tools that we identify along the way are things where it's like, okay, yeah, like why don't we branch off a few people on the team? They can go work on that for a few weeks or a month, and then we do it. So um, the end goal is that in terms of all things business marketing, relationship management, all that stuff, and just leave all the money stuff to somebody else.
That's really cool. No, I like that. It sounds very HubSpotty
Yeah,
content management system. I think
yeah,
also like everyone I talk to is still like the best source of new clients is your current clients. So
yeah,
like doing a really good job for your current clients, like blowing their minds with a fantastic experience, super fast response rates, um, you know, helping them engineer an amazing life is the best way to get new clients. And I'm wondering if building all this like referral type marketing and Google reviews and all this stuff, it could be a part of it as well.
yeah. It's so this is really like, I know some people are probably working on a similar thing, but I think our moat really is the almost 5 decades of data that we have.
Yeah.
Um, we know that if this advisor at this time in their relationship with this many clients that is in, you know, prospects this way and generates referrals this way, has this like, we know when those things are in place, they do these things over a period of time, which result in this outcome.
Yeah.
So I think our real contribution to the industry will be making that happen in a very easy way. And that's like our sort of 12 to 18th month plan, is how do we get Pathfinder so good that it can take any person at any point in their journey as an advisor and actually help them get to that next milestone. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I
I
think
think I think Angie Herbers has done a lot of work around that. Like advisors get really stuck at specific points. I don't know the exact numbers, but like 250 million under management or yeah, there's like a billion or 3 billion. There's like specific points where advisors get really stuck and there's specific unlocks that they need to do to break into the next step basically.
yeah, and we have a similar technology to do that.
Yeah.
So and the failure points have always been like, the person knows that they need to do the thing, but they don't do it, right? Because it's too much. Or so we're trying to go, okay, cool, I get it. Let us help you do it. Or if you can't do it, we're going to do almost all of it for you so that you can see the outcome. Because once you start seeing the outcome, like this happens all the time. We have an advisor we're working with. They get to the point they don't want to do data cleanup. They don't want to do segmentation. They don't want to update that, like, yes, they're willing to update the tiers of their clients, but they don't want to do all the work that it takes to put them in proper tiers.
Right.
But those that get through that start seeing clarity. And then, the ones that were like, hey, do this next thing. I know it's gonna be uncomfortable, but say this thing and say it this way. And the ones that do it all of a sudden start finding money they never would have known about.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just those little incremental things and then seeing that outcome that then creates that velocity. And the guys that do more best practices are the ones that achieve a really high velocity and grow exponentially.
How do you solve that human problem? How do you get people to do the things they know they should do but they don't want to do?
I think it depends on the advisor, consultant, or coach relationship, um, which there's not all like first off, they have to be coachable. So that's
Yeah.
one of the things to check for. Um, and then just understanding the motivations and the barriers and really getting to the bottom of like what's the purpose, right? Like for example, one of the reasons why I love this industry is because my dad immigrated here in the 50s from Haiti, right? He got his citizenship by being a pilot in the Air Force. And all throughout his life, he's worked, never put any money aside, never did anything. And if somebody at that point in time would have been like, hey, wait a minute, you should be doing this, and cared enough to get him to actually do it, he wouldn't be like 92 and have no retirement.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that if we can enable those good advisors that do take care of their clients, that want to do a good job, that actually, they go to their favorite clients' kids' college graduation because they care about that family, um, and being able to identify those purposes that they have, well, it's like then I think it makes it a lot more beneficial because you're not working towards you're not trying to solve things that are hard. You're working towards this long-term outcome. And these are just things along the way.
Yeah. I've been thinking a lot about life planning as opposed to wealth management or financial planning. I think wealth management and financial planning can be like super boring or just uninteresting offers for a lot of people. I mean, myself included, but like a life planner or a life engineer or a life accountability coach or something. Like, I think life planning as a whole is going to get a lot more interesting for this industry, especially as we help clients figure out what their goals are. What is the dream life they're trying to, or
Mhm.
the story they're trying to tell, and then help them actually track progress towards those specific dreams.
What kind of person do you think would what would you need to know and be able to do you think to be able to effectively do that?
I honestly, I think a lot of people don't know what they want. um and a lot of people are simply just living like, you go to high school, you go to college, you get married, you buy a house, you try to get a good job, you start buying cars, you start having kids. All right, now you got to save for 30 or 40 years. Okay, now we've stolen your entire life from you. Now you can have your money back and try to have fun while you're retired and depressed and miserable. I
Yeah,
think it's a horrible. That's like the standard American life. I think there's a completely different way to live. Um, which is every single person pursues their own personal legend from The Alchemist. They figure out what their talents are, they figure out what they're passionate about, and they live a life that's epic now, today. Um, you know what I mean? And they do it every single day that leads to an epic life. They don't have to wait 30 years to like, okay, now I can do what I want.
and that's cool. It's almost like I think what like the college or high school counselor was supposed to be for like but like one for life where it's like, okay,
Yeah.
cool, so let's check in. You're about to leave school, so what a unique profession. It would take some pretty experienced people to actually do that successfully, I think.
It almost would be like a global mentorship program. It's
Yeah,
almost like you pair people that are living their dream with people that are, early on their path. Um, I mean, there's a whole bunch of coaches and gurus and and influencers and stuff. But for me, it's like I made a list of the top 100 most powerful people in this industry, and it's like Josh Brown and Michael Kitces are near the top, and it's like I want to be like Josh Brown and Michael Kitces, like, but be my version of that. So
yeah.
or like the Morgan Housels, like the psychology of money, and write a
Mhm.
epic book about money that changes people's lives. Like,
Hmm.
so you kind of pick your gurus and then you just try to follow in their footsteps, basically.
So do you think that at some point, like an AI would be able to help somebody accomplish that?
I don't want to get super anti AI on this call. No, I think
Oh,
AI is actually a huge threat to a good human life.
I know.
Um,
I see that too. There's
so I,
definitely a
I
danger.
literally I literally am wearing a like $10 version of the One Ring now. And so I it came in the mail and I put it on my finger and my son wrecked into me and I was like, "What are you doing? Why'd you wreck into me?" He's like, "Dude, you're invisible." And I was like, "Oh, funny."
Oh, that's funny. That's cool.
um I think if you have questions, try to ask people before you ask AI. I think AI will be very helpful in many, many ways, but
Yeah,
in building quality relationships and building an amazing life, it's all about deepening human relationships, not
yeah.
about getting answers from word calculators.
I agree. And yeah, I think the future of the world based off of what direction AI goes is drastically different.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't think we want to get into that conversation here
Let's
because
not.
that's
Let's not. Let's
super
avoid that
fun.
like the plague.
You know what's cool? I wanted to share something that I saw, and maybe there's this guy that has this podcast like the Human Experience or something like that called Miles Adcock or
Okay.
Adcox or something like that. And I don't normally like save quotes, but I thought this was super cool, and I wanted to share it with you and the people that watch your podcast,
Yeah.
um, because it actually really made me pause for a second. So what he said was, "What a privilege to be tired from the work you once begged the universe for. What a privilege to be overwhelmed by growth you used to dream about. What a privilege to be challenged by a life you created on purpose. What a privilege to outgrow the things you used to settle for."
Yeah. That actually sent like shivers down my spine.
Yes, it's one of those. And I think that there's so many people out there that are working so darn hard and they don't stop and go for a second. Wait a minute. I'm actually exactly where I wanted to be. I'm doing the exact thing that 10 years ago or 5 months ago or a year ago that I desperately wanted to do. And I think that as human beings, we don't give ourselves a pat on the back enough because it's never enough and we're not quite there yet, or it's just a stepping stone on the way to where you're going. And the reason why it made me pause was because, yeah, I know I'm going to the top of the stairs. It's like 300 steps to get to the top of the stairs, and I'm just right here. But man, look how far up I've gotten since I started.
Yeah.
So anyway,
That's like that Dan Sullivan, Ben Hardy book about measuring backwards versus measuring forwards. I think it's
okay.
called the something gap. Um I can't think of it. But yeah, no, for sure. Or even Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like the self-actualization, the tip of the pyramid.
Yeah, you've read a
Um,
lot more books than I have.
it's okay. No, to be honest, at this point, I'm literally doing exactly what I want to be doing. I write every day. I run a daily podcast. I'm having zillions of conversations with people on text, on LinkedIn, on Instagram. I'm having phone calls. I'm chatting with like mega influencers in the industry. It's a blast. I'm really
That's
loving it.
awesome. Yeah, yeah, good job, man. You work hard. It shows.
Cool.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. Do you want to do a demo for like 10, 20 minutes or so, or what would you like to do
yeah,
next?
yeah. Let's do it. I'll show you guys some of the cool things that we have going on. Um,
We do software demos on a podcast, so clearly, if you're listening to this, you might want to switch to YouTube.
yeah. Let me see. Oh, I have my camera right in front of like the bottom part of my screen. So I just got to grab the share then, right? Yep, there we go.
Yeah, there's a little share screen button at the bottom.
Oh yeah, now I got it. Okay.
There we go.
Um, okay. So the CRM by itself is fairly standard in terms of having like data. When data goes in, data comes out. Can view it from multiple different ways. Having your activities, your notes, your tasks, your history, your automations, your workflows is all on a household basis here. We have a true householding system. So you have all of the different members underneath it. You can enter notes here in terms of the individual contacts or at the household level. Relationships are a big deal, especially as you start building out uh, a network of different people, whether it's personal, familial, professional, All that stuff's incredibly important because you need to know what your book of business consists of. So, for example, I can go into Allison Smith O'Cape. I can see they've actually generated a ton of referral relationships.
Wow.
Um, and Pathfinder, which is right here, helps you actually make sure that the data that you're putting in there is accurate. It's in the right place. It's done correctly. And when you actually have, especially if you're in a small town and you have all these different relationships with different with your different clients, and with the CPA down the street and with the estate planning attorney, then you really start to actually build out a visual network of how all these relationships are mapped out, right? So you can see here that this household has a lawyer who's Roger Hampton. Now, if Roger had any other connections, it would expand out. But you can also see that Albert Einstein referred this household, who then also has a sister named Velda Oldbucks. Velda Oldbucks then also has, her own household, which then can connect down into additional relationships. So this is just giving you an idea of how you can actually build them out. And then this stuff is we use to help our advisors actually build out their COIs and as part of a COI strategy. So
Nice.
yeah, just one of the neat little things we built in. We also have what we call personal contacts. This is something that came out of a best practice that we called the 90-day no contact. This was a way to ensure that somebody from the office had a conversation with each client on a routine basis, whether it was 90 days, 120 days. But this gives us the ability to actually break up a book of business, especially large ones, into sections and into actual different touch types. So, for example, right here I have my tiering: platinum, gold, silver, bronze. I don't know why somebody must have added that. And then you have all your touch types. So, whether it's personal contact, in person meeting, virtual meeting, all your client event types. Small client events are super cool, actually, when you know what people like. But doing educational events, social events, different planning types, you can also go in here and change these and turn them on and turn them off. But you can see that each tier has its own interval, right? And when you have even 150 or 200 or 300 clients, or you have an RA that has a lot of different advisors that have a lot of different clients, and or even sharing your book of business, this makes it really easy to actually go in, manage the interactions with them. I could see that, for example, I have a virtual meeting scheduled with Jay and Gloria. The It needs to be done by February 5th, but I already have it scheduled right here. So,
Okay.
and if I complete that,
So you literally have like the different outreaches that should happen by tier, and then it automatically brings that to the advisor's attention, or
yep,
like reminds them.
automatically segments it. Yeah, and you can turn them on or off, or modify them. So, for example, um, you know, all your retirement planning clients would have retirement planning. You can create a retirement planning tier. So this just makes it so that when you take something that's really confusing and break it down, make it really simple. Um,
What do you have any ideas on client events? So like this, if it's platinum, gold, silver, bronze, like let's say you're trying to put on a event for your platinum clients, like what are some ideas that work really well?
yeah, so it's important to understand what they like, but there are some neat things you can do that are unique. Like you can actually call the local FBI branch and ask them to do like a security like have a discussion on cybersecurity, personal security. Like they'll actually send somebody out, and you can do a small client event for your high net worth clients that deal with different topics that are hot right now. So, for example, right now, one of the things that's really scary is using AI voice generators to just get a sample of somebody's voice and mimic them calling in, right? Or so people, to combat that, they're doing things like storing a unique password and stuff like that. But that's one thing that you can do. We all of our clients that are doing client events that are really successful pick two major holidays a year. So, for example, Fourth of July barbecue. Then a holiday party, you can go and actually rent out a whole movie theater, have all of your clients show up.
Yeah.
um, that's a really good way to do it too. And there's a bunch of little things that we do. But for example, if I was trying to go into here and just trying to come up with an idea, I could then go into the filters and I can go to my custom fields, and I would go like, what are some uh, interests that they have? And I could go, okay, so go into charities or causes supported or personal interests and or artistic interests, and then pick various ones and see what it populates with. So with that, then you can do smaller client events like whiskey tasting, or some people, we have advisors that go and will do like, they'll go do shooting, right? And they have somebody come in that's from the SWAT team or some sort
Yeah.
of training for personal defense. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. It's all based off of what people find interesting.
Can you actually, like, query the AI and say, "Hey, what are my platinum clients? What are some things that they all share in common?"
Yeah.
Is that possible?
Yeah. If if it's actually in the tagging or if it's in the custom fields, it'll do that. But I'll go and show you. What are some common things my platinum clients have interest in? So right now, this type of report generation, we're working on building a UI to make it actually generate the report in a
Okay.
concise manner. Because this is not like, this is fine, but it's nothing exceptional. And
Yeah,
in this
AI
scale,
is it always gives way too much information in my opinion.
yeah. So one of the things we're focusing on with like our meeting agent is Pathfinder Plus is actually using the concept of signal versus noise. So it's filtering that stuff through that lens.
Nice.
Um, yeah, so we can see in terms of hobbies and interests, like if this actually had a ton of data in it, um, you would have more and more of it actually pulling this stuff up. Um, but yeah, it has access. I think one of the cool things about building your own CRM is that, especially when you're building it from AI from the get go, which is one of the reasons we built Altitude was because of AI, is that it has access to all the data.
Yeah,
And you already know that because I mean, that's why Jump and Socks and those guys are building something that houses the data.
right.
Um, yeah. So out of the personal contact. Now, one of the things that we do that I really like is that we've trained Pathfinder to act as a relationship manager, like that computer operator was talking about before. It's
Yeah,
actually trained based off of that intellectual property.
okay.
Um, so I can just talk to it and it will take what I'm saying. It'll actually do the things based off of what its training is. So, and also we have like this prompt library that we're building out that has a bunch of little things. Like the account story is super cool. It takes a little while to generate, and again, I don't like the way it generates because it's a little messy. But we're working on the actual agentic UI generation for Pathfinders, which just generates things visually and beautifully. But if I just give it a mock story of something, I'll show you what I mean. I had breakfast with America Columbus this morning. She said things were going really good. She's been really happy with the returns. She mentioned that her dad, Roger Columbus, hasn't had an advisor ever, and that he's finally done trading stocks himself and wants to talk to somebody. She said I should give him a call next Tuesday at 10 a.m. He's a retired Air Force pilot, and he's just one of those no bullshit kind of guys. His number is 323 555 2222. She doesn't know much about his finances, but he's always been a frugal person, and she really wants someone that she trusts to take care of him. She said that if I want, I can have someone call out next week to get the rest of the paperwork wrapped up for the annuity that her old advisor had, and we can get that resolved for her. So this is just primarily just something I just kind of came up with off the top of my head. I'm sure that people that deal with clients constantly are going to have a lot more data that goes in there, but
Sure.
it's really good at parsing, understanding, and then one of the things that's really important for us is keeping the advisor or the team member in the loop. So you can see it continuing to actually go out and process and doing stuff. Didn't have any trouble finding America. It's also context aware. So I'm in that screen. I'm viewing that section of the client list.
Okay.
So that increases its ability to confirm that the person I'm talking about is correct. But it just sees that Roger doesn't actually exist. So it added him as an individual. It's going ahead and adding the phone number. If I would have given it the email address, would have done that. If I gave it the address, would have done that. You can also paste all this stuff in. So I'm going to create that contact. Now it's going to go ahead and summarize the note. The breakfast meeting, happy with returns, data referral. So it's then breaking stuff down into sections. These are the key points. It's going to go ahead and summarize that note. Now it adds a key insight. Key insights are a way for Pathfinder to look back on things and know that these are not necessarily task related, but things that are interesting about this household or this relationship. Then it's going to
So
go
you
ahead.
kind of review each thing it suggests doing, and then when you say submit, then it like actually records the note or schedules the meeting or stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah. 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 And we do that with everything because we want to make sure that, the human being is responsible for the data that's going in. This just makes it so much easier. So it's not like, oh, what should I do with that? Do I put that there? Do I do that? Um, because I think CRMs in the beginning were built on the assumption that human beings are machines. Advisors are machines, or team members are machines. Pathfinder knows they're human, so
Right.
it treats it in that sense. So it's going to go ahead and do this phone call. It's scheduling it for the 28th. This is to call her dad. Phone number's in there. This is a general follow up to have somebody from the office. I didn't say who, so I can just go in here and then add, my assistant. Is showing the contact who we're calling. If I wanted to make this like an actual event with a specific time, if I said call at this specific time, it would have added the actual phone call time. Now it's going above and beyond by creating that referral relationship, right? This is where you
Wow.
actually
Okay.
start really building out the relationships between people.
Yeah. Dude, this is
Um,
impressive. I gotta say, like, I've worked in financial services for 7 years and been a CRM consultant for at least a year and a half of it. This is really impressive.
yeah, I love this. This
Yeah.
is like, I love the fact that we're able to actually help people do all of this stuff. And it literally takes a minute, 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And again, it goes back to like just that mission to help these guys that are good people do a better job.
So,
Cool.
like, if
Yeah.
if AI is if AI is helping humans do work like this, like
Yeah.
follow up on every single thing, build better relationships, reach out at important events, then I think AI is good. And I can stop saying it's terrible.
Well, there
I
is
think it's
terrible.
it's just it's just when humans are using AI to like outsource all their thinking and their brains are literally like atrophying into nothing. Like that's
Yeah,
I think
no.
there's just a lot of that going on, I'm afraid. And I want to try to maybe as an overreaction to all that, I'm like coming out super strong and be like, make sure you're using this correctly, guys.
Yeah, and it can go that way. And like for example, I used to for a long time I wrote and produced music, and I did stuff for commercials like indie films. I've written more than 100 and something different pieces of music. And as AI music stuff came out, I was like it. I was almost physically revolted. I don't even know why. Like it's not like it was. I mean, it's weird to listen to, but like I would never use that because it would replace my capability to create.
Right.
And I think in a lot of ways, there are companies out there that are doing that, and it shouldn't be that way. Um,
I,
so
I
yeah,
think people will figure it out. Like there's these podcasts coming out where there's like three AI agents having a conversation. And to me, that's like just completely pointless. Like nobody cares what the AI is saying to the AI.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
the human or books written by AI, or yeah, or images or videos. Like I think truly all that stuff has a value of just about zero. I think
mhm,
it's only when AI is used to help humans do human things better that
yeah.
AI can be good.
I agree. Yeah, it is an assistant, and that's the modality that we're using for this
Yeah,
is that we have a tremendous amount of data, man, like so much information to help advisors grow their business. And we're going to use the AI to help them do that so that they don't have
yeah,
to think of it. And so it's just even the same way, like our meeting stuff, it's the summarization, the preparation, questions they should be asking, data to clarify, putting it into an agenda. But not only that, we're building out all the different meeting types from our own library of information.
yeah,
So they can go in, and if they're doing a 4-step planning meeting, they can grab our template, they can modify it, and then generating all the information that goes into action items and stuff like that. A lot of people have seen that. I just think that in terms of like the twist on how we do it will be different because it's that much closer to what they actually are doing, need help doing.
Yeah. So 2 final questions, then we can wrap up. If someone wants to sign up for Altitude, what's the best way to do so?
Yeah, so they just go to gainaltitude.ai, or they can get there through going through billgoodmarketing.com and then going to the CRM. What we do right now is we're doing free trials for people. So they just reach out, we confirm they're an advisor, and then we set up a trial for them. I've been doing a lot of demos. I like doing them because it's great to meet more people I haven't talked to understand what's beneficial to them, what they need help with, because it
For
also
sure.
helps us plan out our development correctly. So I'm happy to do that as well, or somebody else on my team. Um, yeah, where they can connect on LinkedIn, send me a message. It's fairly easy.
Yeah. And then lastly, like you at the beginning, you were talking about like where all this is going to be in a year. What's your vision for the products that you're building for advisors, like a year out, or even more than that?
Yeah. So as far as from like what you saw with Pathfinder, doing the suggestions, doing the things that an advisor or team member may forget to do, like we're looking at doing that, but across everything. So whether that's the meeting, whether that is the marketing that they're doing, or they're trying to figure out, hey, I really want to do a webinar. How do I do a webinar? Right? Going in and grabbing the webinar template that has the email template where they just put in their information, automatically scheduling out the best amount of time that they need to have and putting their lists in there and helping them move those people through those staging to actually make that webinar successful. So the Bill Good marketing system consists of like 120 best practices
Okay.
across CRM usage, client relationship management, prospecting, operations, like all of these different things. So ideally, we're heading towards implementing that across the board and having the software that supports it. Um, we are also working on uh, a a mobile app, but it's not a CRM mobile app. It's a Pathfinder mobile app.
Okay.
So what that means is that their interactions with Pathfinder make it, they're not like filtering through trying to find stuff. We will have like a little contact screen, but the idea of the app for Pathfinder is that they can be, traveling for business and they're in the hotel and they meet someone in the bar and they had a really cool conversation. This person is like the son of a small regional oil company in Texas, right? And this guy's been, they got to talking and he found out that, this guy might be making some investments in something that maybe sounds kind of fishy. So he gets the guy's card and he takes a picture of the card and he just dictates a note of the entire encounter.
Yeah.
Normally, in that situation, you may forget or you lose the card or you forgot what you talked about or whatever. But Pathfinder capturing that, doing all of it, getting it all set up, reaching out via email to schedule the meeting, the entire process being fully encapsulated and ensuring that nothing falls through the cracks. Like we want to build incredibly efficient offices.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
awesome. That's really cool. I like that. All right. Well, I know you have something else coming up. I appreciate you coming on the podcast. I already have several people in mind I want to send this to and be like, hey, watch
cool.
this.
Yeah, cool. It'd be great to get together again too at some point. And also, I know Matt Hicken on the consulting side of things would be super happy to talk to you about some of the other things that you're looking at in terms of how to help advisors achieve more organic growth, how to actually help them. Like, I have a lot of really knowledgeable people here, so I'm
Yeah.
happy to have them share some of the information they know to help other
Yeah, if
advisors.
you wanna send an invite or email intro to Matt, and
Yeah,
then I can take it from there and get something scheduled.
cool.
Alright, sounds good.
Yeah,
Talk to you
it's
soon.
good talking to you.
Alright,
See ya.
bye-bye.